Sometimes love means dying. Unless, of course, you're God, then that's what the word's always implying. You see, we ask the question, why would God create us if he knew that some would be damned, but refused to ask? If God knew he was going to have to die to save just a few, why did he even bother to create man? Man. That's because that is love's master plan. You see, love doesn't make wagers and it doesn't stack the deck. Love doesn't wait for you to show your hand before it places its bet. Because we all have a tell that reveals our cards aren't enough. So when we go all in, we are always playing the bluff. But God cordially folds and gives us the pot. Love doesn't make if-then statements, as in, if you love me, then I'll love you, as if our relationship was an arrangement. Because saying God first loved us isn't just true, it is an understatement. Saying God first loved us is like saying the pluck of a string preceded its note, when in fact, if God had not loved us first, there would be no such thing as music or string or tone. God's love isn't kinetic, as if he was moving, bumped into us, and we began to roll. No, God's love is creative and forms something that loves him out of nothing, so that something out of nothing may nothing else extol. Then, why do we call it hate? When the one who creates chooses some souls to save instead of just giving justice to all. I think it's a case of misunderstood grace that thinks even one of us deserves to be called. For we all have fallen short and have earned our place in the only court that's fully just to proclaim one sentence: guilty, condemned beyond all possibility of penance. But imagine if the judge let off just one who was just as guilty as everyone else, and that one wicked person got to enter heaven while the rest of us were sentenced to hell. Well, that wouldn't be grace. And that wouldn't be justice, because anyone who would leave even one sin unpunished would not be considered God Almighty, the holy holder of justice. Because pardoning a guilty criminal in court isn't considered loving or kind, it's considered madness. And yet, this judge does say our penalty is absorbed. This God does say our innocence has been restored. This courtroom adjudicator, this tribunal conciliator, knowing the guilt of each and every incriminator that steps into his judiciary chamber, says to criminals not guilty, well done, come and enter. Then should the crowd accuse this legal chancellor of incompetence for giving justice to most and offering even one guilty party forgiveness? I mean, don't we hold our earthly judges to higher standards than this? If a convicted murderer who was not only guilty of atrocities but confessed them was then pardoned by a judge, would we not call that corruption? Then why are we offended when justice is uplifted but we're not when unearned pardon is extended? You see, hell's not the scandal, grace is. Sin's not the vandal, grace is. Evil's not offensive, grace is. Punishment is not outrageous, grace is. And the only reason why this love and grace doesn't rend the fabric of time and space is because the justice we deserved didn't disappear, but was fully given to another who stood in our place. Sometimes love means dying. Unless, of course, you're Jesus, then that's what the word is always implying.